Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 10, powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group.
When Justin Trudeau tried to meddle, India sent out a very strong diplomatic message, and that was great. But now this Canadian meddling just does not stop. Tonight there are pictures of another Canadian leader's participation in the farmers' protest. What is Canada's problem? At what level is this conspiracy being organized? Why is Canada meddling in the Singhu border? Let's debate.
Randeep Brar, Member of Parliament from Conservative Party of Canada, is believed to have landed in India from Ontario on December 30th. Ever since, he has been seen camping at the Singhu border with the protesting farmers, conducting Facebook Lives, interacting with Kisan Union leaders, pushing out hashtags like NRI's Chalo Delhi, and even meeting politicians in India. But what is a Canadian leader doing at a farmers' protest?
This complete protest has been hijacked. We have also seen that how the political parties are also trying to take political mileage out of this. This is certainly raising a lot of concerns. Now we'll have to wait and watch if there is a explanation comes in from Sanyukt Kisan Morcha, which is right now leading this entire agitation, where 40 farmer union leaders are sitting.
Not the first time that there has been an attempt to meddle. Justin Trudeau said this last month.
The situation is concerning, and we're all very worried about family and friends. I know that's the reality for many of you. Let me remind you, Canada will always be there to defend the right of peaceful protest. We believe in the importance of dialogue, and that's why we've reached out through multiple means directly to the Indian authorities to highlight our concerns.
And the Kisan unions wanted British MPs to intervene.
जो हमारे भारत की सरकार ने 26 जनवरी को इंग्लैंड के प्रधानमंत्री को बुला रखा है, उसके बारे में हम इंग्लैंड के एमपीज को लिख रहे हैं कि वो अपने प्रधानमंत्री को रोकने की कोशिश करें.
The foreign meddling has crossed the limits. Those enabling foreign interests have been exposed. It's time to send out a strong message to these foreign powers to stay out of India's internal affairs. Let's debate.
Okay, now I'm intrigued with this Canada angle. Sanju Verma, Ramnik Maan, Sushant Sareen, General Bakshi are on the debate. And I have today Sukhi Chahal, he's founder of Khalsa Today from California. And I have with me Jasveer Singh. He's a senior press officer of the Sikh Press Association. And he's joining us from London. Jasveer ji, good evening. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you fine. Good evening.
And good evening. And I have with me Sukhminder Singh Hansra, senior member of the SAD Amritsar from Canada. He's joining us from Ottawa in Canada. Mr. Hansra, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing? Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Now, Canada is Canada and India is India. I appreciate your concern but Canadians are Canadians and Ramnik Maan, Indians are Indians, right? So there are so many problems in Canada. So many problems. There are so many problems in Canada. My question is whether Indian politicians should go to solve Canada's problems. Ramnik Maan, they would say no, 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 absolutely not. So what is Canada's problem? What is the locus standi? What is the right you have? What business does Canada have to cross the line? You know, if you were in India, if you were an Indian citizen, you have every right. But if you're a foreigner, a Canadian by choice, then you bother about Canadian matters. Right? This is elementary, right, Ramnik? So I want to start this debate on Canada's stay out by making this limited point. And maybe, Ramnik, you can take it forward with Mr. Hansra, who's joining us today from Ottawa in Canada. Yes, Ramnik, do you want to elaborate on that, please?
Okay. Yeah, let me start by telling you this again.
Ottawa.
Like I said the last time, Arnab. The problem, Ottawa. The problem of Canadian Prime Minister and the Canadian opposition leaders per se is, "Tu kon main khamakha." है ना, और बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना, they are dancing all around the country. I don't know for what reasons. Number one. Number two, as far as the Canadian guest from Ottawa is concerned, Mr. Hansra, he belongs to Shiromani Akali Dal Amritsar, and the last election in Punjab 2017, out of a total of 1.5 crore votes casted, literally they got only 49,000. So that is their locus standi as far as Punjab is concerned. But also a very important point to make here, let's not make it between Indian government versus Sikhs, because not every Sikh is a farmer and not every farmer is a Sikh in this country. So let that be understood very clearly. So it's nothing that is Sikh versus the government of India. It is the farmers. There are farmers who have legitimate demands, all right, but there are citizens who have legitimate rights guaranteed by the Constitution. What about our rights? We don't have a right to free movement. Delhi, the capital of this country, has been put to siege for about a month and a half now. And I don't understand. I was looking at the promo when you were playing Yogendra Yadav. ये आदमी मीठा मीठा बोल के इतना जहर घोलता है, कोई इसको पूछे वो मिठे, वो तेरा की है यार? You don't even own 8 canals of land, not even 1 acre. And I'll tell you for a fact, Arnab, the only legitimate farmers are those who till their land by themselves, not these ichhadhari nags who, I'll tell you, this guy is bare naked today. He has lost his skin. Kenchuli kende Punjabi ch, wo kenchuli utar gayi thi. And this guy has to find another movement or another playground to play next time, because he is completely exposed. And I feel this Dr. Ramandeep Singh or Randeep Singh Brad, whatever his name is, he's a PhD, I don't know, in arson or PhD in
Ramandeep Brad, some Canadian
Bhadkaud, I don't know.
MP.
And it's so interesting. Not just the Indian opposition parties, even the Canadian opposition parties, the Conservatives in Canada, they're interested in internal politics of India. और मैं ना, I don't know why the government is so quiet about it. ਇਹ ਜਿਹੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ 4 ਛਿੱਤਰ ਮਾਰੋ, ਭਜਾਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, put them on a blacklist. Don't let these jokers ever come back to India again. Let them do their politics in Canada if they can survive there. They have a vote base in Canada, which may be a Punjabi vote base, a Sikh vote base, but they have got no right to incite violence. They have got no right whatsoever to come on Indian land and abuse the Indian Prime Minister and say कि वो चाव वाला जी ये करके जी वो करके जी. This is utter nonsense. And the people of India has elected him the second time with a greater majority. Oh, you are still in the opposition in Canada, yaar. You try and get yourself elected on this. And I'll tell you, Arnab, I am telling you for a fact, I have been on ground, I have sensed what is happening. Whatever this, Yogendra Yadav is trying to portray, he's only trying to reinforce those borders or those areas, because Singhu has got a very high concentration of people. Now they want to move people to other borders and make them another strongholds. It is literally a military strategy. These people are working on a military strategy. And in case there are 40, 45 organizations, you can bring out 10, 15, 20 per organization. Representatives discuss with the country's government. Why do you have to have lakhs and lakhs of people on the roads? I don't understand the logic behind it. Besides that, Arnab, I have been on ground and I have met many
I think the sense is
people from Haryana,
other
people from Punjab who've got a sense of it that the government is agreed.
I think the sense is
the government is agreed to most of the
No, I think the sense is, yeah, I thank you for your for your introductory remarks.
Arnab,
Mr. Hansra.
Just 5 more seconds, Arnab, if I may.
Okay, you haven't finished, okay.
Arnab, please, 5 more seconds, I'll tell you. Because people, Kundlis in Haryana.
You speak to Mr. Hansra directly.
Arey, lag gaya ke hai? Mr. Hansra has got 49,000 voters in Punjab out of 1.5 crores. He's got no locus standi. I don't want to talk to him. Yaar. He's got no locus standi. I want to address the people of Haryana. Yaar, मैंने न्यू तो बता दो कि ये योगेंद्र यादव के लग गए है फुफ्फा है के करेगा यू 8 कनाल जगह नीच की मेरे यार की आड़े बैठे जी हम दिल्ली में जाम कर देंगे हम न्यू कर देंगे यार हम रिहर्सल करेंगे इसके मार मार के जूत मेरे यार का भजावड़े थे और मैं I would want to request the Chief Minister of Haryana put him behind the bars. Gurnaam Chatuni is a Artiya yaar, he's got a shop, he's got a Artiya shop. This guy owns a Mercedes car. या किसान है न्यू आया करे किसान अरे मेरे यार हाड़ी की जूती पाटी पावे है और जब आवे है ना बैसाखी और बैसाखी पे तो हाड़ी अपनी मौज बनावे है और यार ये कित का किसान है यार इनके मार मार जूत बजावा देते मैं तो माँ भैया के आगे हाथ जोड़ू हूँ इन्हें बजा दो मेरे यार और ये जोड़ से ये माओवादी से गड़े अंडे
okay, this is today's program today's edition of the debate. Viewers, I am breaking the world record on the number of languages spoken on the program, and I place on record that we are going to seek a nomination. This program today since 9 o'clock has been broadcast in Bengali, Punjabi, Haryanvi, English and Hindi. I don't know any program in the world which has at least 5 languages within 1 hour. Mr. Hansra, I don't know how to say this in Punjabi, but what is your business? And by the way, Mr. Hansra, farmers in your country, and your country is Canada, you're a Canadian, farmers in your country have the right to sell their produce wherever they want. They are not living on MSP, they are living by the free market. So when farmers in Canada operate by the free market and benefit because of the higher prices as a result thereof, and you support that, if you have a problem with that formula, first Mr. Hansra, go and block the roads in Ottawa. आप में हिम्मत है तो आपके कंट्री में जो आप इधर चाह रहे हो वहां पे है नहीं है. Your country is operating by the free market, am I correct? Your farmers sell in the free market, they're not living by MSP. Your country's farmers. If you don't like that, if you're principally and ideologically opposed to that, then I think Mr. Sushant Sareen will agree with me. Mr. Hansra, why don't you block the streets in Ottawa? Block the streets in Toronto. Go sit on a dharna in Toronto. Right? Break the barricades, challenge the police. वहां पे आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. तो इधर क्यों कर रहे हैं? अपने देश में कीजिए ना. Hansra ji, why don't you do that? Instead of sending these imports like this Ramandeep Brar out here.
Well, first of all, is it my turn to speak now? Hello, is it my turn to speak now? Yeah, I'm a Canadian. I don't talk over people when they talk. Number 2, I'm not going to steep low like Ramneek, your co-anchor Ramneek does to basically respond to him because he doesn't have a higher standard of discussion on his help. So let me explain this to you. This is a global village now. I mean, even your television channel called Republican World, it doesn't say Republican Daily or Republican in India. So let me say this. When Canada or Canadians got involved,
Republic is very much an Indian channel. Don't have any doubts. No, I'm really sorry. Really sorry. Republic World is all of India. Yeah, please now continue. Continue. My question to you was, you operate by the free market, farmers in Canada, they benefit because of it. Why don't you block the streets in Ottawa? That was my question, right? Are you avoiding my question? If you have a principal problem with that formula, why don't you block the streets in Ottawa?
You have a problem to talk over your guest, and that is the problem.
Then why aren't you answering my question?
I am answering if you give me a chance.
No, why don't you answer my question?
I am. You're talking about MSP in Canada or MSP in India. Canadian farmers don't have a problem. Canadian farmers don't gather in millions in Ottawa to protest against the government.
Sanju Verma.
Why is it the Indian farm? Why is it the Indian farmers are staging protest in New Delhi?
Nobody needs your help.
Canada want them to do it. Let me tell you something. Our police don't use batons. Our police don't use gas. Well, let me speak. Or if you want to come in, I can disconnect because it doesn't make any sense. It's not a debate. It's an argument, and we're not going to get anywhere. So when Haryana government staged a blockade and
you're not being able to answer. I am asking you that, you know, one second. One second. Mr. Hansra, are you finding a difficulty? Are you finding any difficulty in answering my question?
Well,
I am asking you that in Canada there was a review of your market regulations regarding farmers, and after the review of your market regulations regarding farmers, it was decided that there should be absolute unfettered access for Canadian farmers, and in fact the central government in Canada encouraged that unfettered access. Are you unable to answer, you know, tonight of the program? If you have an ideological issue with the principle itself, then you should be protesting it in Canada.
The protest, my friend, is
right? I mean, you're not being able to answer my question. It's the third time I'm asking you.
I am answering your.
My third time.
I am giving you the reason. I am giving you the damn reason why the protest in India and Canada unleashed.
No, I will expose this man's hypocrisy in a minute.
Well, you're hypocritic at all. Everybody's trying to block my answer. So I don't get that to you. Your police is violating.
You've not been able to answer. I've asked you 3 times.
Constitution. Your police is violating your.
Arnab, you will have to now allow me to come in. You know, he's had his say. This cannot be a monologue. You've had your say. Now listen.
What do you mean he allow you?
This
you already in, man. You're already talking.
I heard what you had to say. Let me speak.
No, you haven't heard what
please hold your horses and just.
For what?
Listen to me. No, I don't need to listen to anything more. You've said enough. You've said enough. You have said enough and we have heard enough. Let me tell you one thing. Who propounded the theory of borderless trade between US, Canada and Mexico? The Canadians. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, signed between Canada, US and Mexico, is one of the symbols of borderless free trade. But what does Canada do? It imposes tariffs of between 200 to 300% on dairy, milk and cheese products that come from America into Canada. So Canada is basically a country which protects its dairy farmers, but it wants the US to open its borders. It wants Mexico to open its borders.
It's a protectionist, small little protectionist economy.
You're talking about terms of a North American agreement, and it doesn't make any sense. We're talking about police using water cannons. We're talking about police using tear gases on their own citizens. And you're talking about the North American agreement. How pathetic it is. I mean, you don't make any sense. You know, let's have some sort of debate instead of an argument. I can yell, of course I can, because you people are so pathetically debating the issues, trying to put down Canada. Yeah, your prime minister goes around trying to, you know, drum up.
I'm not putting down, but I'm saying, I'm just saying,
paint a rosy picture of India. Meantime, look what's happening to Indians. Look what is happening to Indians. 1.5 to 2 million people are sitting on streets asking for rights. And your government failed to do so.
1 minute. 1 minute. I bring Sushant in. I bring Sushant into the debate. You know, Mr. Hansra, you know, Canada is not the US. First of all, realize this. And why do you need to? Just 1 minute, Mr. Hansra. where you need to come from is, Mr. Hansra, and I'm sure Jasveer will agree with me on this, that today, as of today, Canada is a mess. It's a weak economy, a small country with a large area. You can't even stop the ISI from coming in and killing Baloch people right there. You know what happened with, Canada could not even stop the ISIs coming and killing people there. You don't have a proper security agency. You don't have an intelligence service. And truly, why don't you crack down on groups like this Vietnam dynasty? These are terrorist organizations, called out as a terrorist organization by the Vietnamese government. Why is this headquartered in Canada? Why are you encouraging terrorist organizations which carry out terrorist attacks in Vietnam to operate out of Canada? Do you have absolutely no concern about the mess within Canada, Mr. Hansra? Your country is a mess, right? Mess. It's a right royal mess. I'd like Jasveer to come in on this. Jasveer, at the end of the day, look at the chaos in the United Kingdom, for example. Right? People don't have vaccines. You've gone into a deep lockdown, tier 3, tier 4. Your Labour Party is at the throats of your government. Your economy has collapsed. Why don't you concern yourself with those issues and contribute to the British economy instead? Yes, Jasveer, I'd like to hear from you.
So firstly, Arnab, I would like to say in front of your viewers and in front of these panelists, it would be great if you left the comfort zone of this channel and had a debate on a different platform so we can see what you're really about. So we will be inviting you to a debate with myself and others, and let's see if you accept. Now on to the question. A Canadian security expert, one of the most senior security officials in the country. I am in my comfort zone anywhere, and it seems you need to come out of your comfort zone. I'm asking you, I didn't want to provoke you by saying the UK is a mess, but it is, isn't it? You know that. You know that. Influence as one of the most dangerous issues affecting the Canadian Sikh community. We will share this information again with anyone that wants to see it at the Sikh Press Association. In regards to the UK, we have many problems. And guess what? The Indian community from India, including yourself, are constantly speaking on them, are constantly trying to influence them. The term NRI means non-resident Indian. It gives us the
No, we're not influencing anyone.
Stay as Indian. And if you are taking
we're not influencing anyone.
Say that now. Say you don't.
No, we're not influencing anyone. But let me ask you one question.
Do you believe in the concept of NRI, Arnab?
Okay, so I ask you one question. Can I ask you a question, please?
You answer mine.
Can I ask you a question? My point is that, and I know the United Kingdom quite well. Just a minute. You see, what happened is that about 12 months back, allow me to tell you a little bit more about your country, where you live. You're a British, right? Let me tell you, one second, I'll just come in on this. See, first of all, charity begins at home. Yeah, so, no, that's your country, this is my country. No, one second, you're British and I'm Indian, let there be no doubt about it. Now, question here is, can I complete my question? You see, Jasveer, 14 months back, there were environmental protests in London. One second. 14 months back, there were environmental protests in London. Okay? They were part of a global protest, but there was an epicenter of that protest in London. Go back and read your newspapers. Yours isn't British newspapers, British media. When 500 young students decided to sit on a road, right? I don't know where it was, whether it was on Waterloo Bridge, but it was near the Westminster area. Just 500 students wanted to sit on a road for a few hours. Allow me to complete. For a few hours. They wanted to sit on the road and simply, peacefully, democratically protest. Your London police went absolutely unstoppably crazy. They started picking up people. There was force that was used. They said, no, 500 people cannot block a road. It is a democracy, but democracy operates within the restrictions of not disturbing other people. Now, the question is, Jaspreet, I'm asking you, listen to me. Listen to me. Have the patience to listen. It's a good attribute. My question is, 500 young, peacefully, democratically protesting students drove the British government and the London police into a whirlpool, right? I'm sure you supported the actions of the British police then, didn't you? Because if it's London, it's okay. But in India, we need to needle from the back. So please understand, there is something called law and order in your country. Okay? And there's something called law and order here. So you need to tell me that why didn't you let 500 students protest on the streets of London? Why did your government not allow 500 students to exercise their freedom of expression in the United Kingdom? Please tell me. First you answer that question, then talk about what's happening in India. Answer, Jasveer.
To the brutal violence of the Indian police that are beating old men and
there was
women.
Ethnic profiling. There was ethnic profiling. Don't ask me to remind you.
You are embarrassing your country
what am I asking you? Why did you not allow 500 people to peacefully protest, 500 young men and women to peacefully protest on the streets of London? Why was your government so insecure about that? Why were you so draconian at that point of time? Why didn't Jasveer protest at that point of time? Why didn't you hit the streets and say that this is unacceptable, it's anti-democratic? Because you don't have the courage to do that in the United Kingdom. No, why don't you speak up against the atrocities in the UK? I really want to know. I gave you absolutely a firm and recent example.
An online campaign
I want an answer.
Exposing the violence of the British police forces against Sikh protesters. Similarly, we are running campaigns.
Online campaign. Come on now. Why don't you hit the streets about it? There you are exposed. You heard that, Ramnik? When it comes to atrocities in the UK, he says, I did a quiet online campaign.
People will continue this debate.
Incredible hypocrisy on the program tonight, viewers. I rest my case.
Let's see if you accept the invitation to debate us on a different platform.
You're not being able to answer. I'll let Sushant come in.
Inciting violence, and then he talks about other people inciting violence.
I just have 2 or 3 ways.
I asked you one question, Jaspreet, you couldn't answer. Just one question you couldn't answer.
You pretended you didn't care. It's easier for you.
Arnab, I have 2 or 3 quick points. One, how many of these gentlemen who are weighing in so heavily in favor of the farmers or whatever and the protest have actually bothered to read the laws, the 3 laws? Because, for example, the gentleman from Ottawa was talking about MSP. MSP is not even mentioned in these laws. MSP is not part of anything that these laws are trying to do. So none of these guys have read these laws, just like none of these guys have actually read the CAA, and many of these people were weighing in on that. That's point number 1. Point number 2, using tear gas and water cannons, I think is very, very peaceful way of of trying to dismantle a mob or a crowd which is demonstrating. It is a standard operating procedure in every other country, so there's nothing exceptional about that. And for these guys to say that this was gross brutality, I don't know which world these guys are living in. Number 3, none of these fellows who have come on your show today have any locus standi, because these are people who have voted with their feet. What is their locus standi in India? They have left India. They had nothing to do with India. On what basis are they saying anything about what policies the government of India makes, which in its own wisdom, the government of India thinks is going to kickstart and actually going to make the farm sector far more prosperous, is going to put greater money in the hands of the farmers, is going to free the markets, the farm markets out here. That is our problem. If supposing that measure fails, we are a democracy, we'll vote this government out. If that measure succeeds, everybody will laugh their way to the bank. But what is their locus standi? They have left this country. They ran away. Many of them probably went as illegals. They have gone and settled abroad. Why do they want to weigh on what happens in India? My bigger problem is with some of the farm leaders in India. And they are doing what in the 17th century, people in India used to do when Shah Waliullah and others would write letters to Ahmad Shah Abdali and invite him to invade India or interfere in India's affairs. How is it any different from what these guys are doing? These Yogendra Yadavs and other clowns who write to all these people around the world and tell them to interfere in India's affairs. They have absolutely no business to say what happens out here. If I have a problem with the farm laws, my farmers are protesting. As long as they don't trouble anybody, they have all the right to protest. The government has actually been engaging them. 7 or 8 rounds of talks have already happened. But if you have guys who simply do not want any kind of a compromise, they do not even want to try and see if something is working on the ground or not, then how can you have any talk with these people? The kind of unreasonableness which some of these people are doing, even in the negotiations with the government, I think that's a shame. But that is my problem and your problem. It is none of these people's problem, because they have left this country.
Because
they
the
voted
Indian
with their feet.
government
And my
did
last
not
point
negotiate
is,
with them when they made
the
these
gentleman
bills.
who was talking about NRIs, he doesn't know the
bills
difference between an
without
NRI who
the
happens to be
farmers.
an Indian citizen who is living abroad temporarily or has not left his Indian citizenship. Anybody who is working abroad on either a green card or whatever, is employed abroad, has a right to say something because he continues to hold an Indian passport. How many of these gentlemen hold an Indian passport? So if they don't hold an Indian passport, they have no bloody business to say anything about what happens in my country. This is not their country anymore.
I'd like Sukhi to comment on that. Sukhi, there are 2 points which have come in the debate so far. You want me, should I, Mr. Hansra, should I get it Sukhi and then come to you?
Well, I just
Sukhi, there are 2 points which have been raised here.
Violence from
Point number 1 which has been raised. 1 minute. I'm coming to you, General Bakshi. The first point is Sukhi and General Bakshi are on the debate. I'm just trying to get everyone in. Sukhi, the first point which has been made here is, what is, not you personally, but what is your locus standi? See, the point being made by Sushant is that how many of you are Indian citizens? You've chosen another country, or someone, you may have been born there, but you are not an Indian citizen. Now that's a big point, right? Second point is about the knowledge and awareness. Now, if you ask me, I know everything about these farm laws. Sushant challenges you today. What do you know about the farm laws? And what the farm laws in India are doing are on lines with what the American government has been trying to do with American agriculture, which is attract private investment, transform it to the market dynamics, give deeper access, allow the farmers to sell their crop to whoever they want, remove the middlemen. That increases the income. These are the fundamentals on which the successive American governments have actually supported American agriculture, and that is how farmers in America become prosperous over a period of time. When the Indian government does that, I don't know why anyone should have a problem. Secondly, question is of locus standi. How can you interfere? What is your right to interfere in this at all? Please, Sukhi, you want to respond to Sushant, and General Bakshi will come in after that.
Thank you very much. First of all, I do have to disagree with the other gentleman from Delhi. We never ran away from India or from this country because for some reason we are the citizen of US or Canada or the UK, and we are proud of our Karampumi because India is our mother Pumi, motherland, but America is our Karampumi, and we are proud of both countries. We never ran away. At least then tomorrow we can say actually the Google CEO, the Microsoft CEO, they ran away from there, they became a CEO. I don't think so. That's a right logic actually to criticize any NRI. But coming back to the main point, so this gentleman, Mr. Ramandeep Brad, and he is a politician from Canada, and he is an active member of the Conservative Party, and he contested the election over there, and he is educated and he knows what the local laws of his country and also the India country. But he should not. It's my personal perception. I was in India. I just came back from India like last week. I was there for a month and a half. I did not visit any of the border, neither Tikri border or the Singhu border. Because for me, being a US citizen, it is my responsibility not to interfere in other countries' local business. Because the farmers are doing the protest and they have a very good leadership.
Well said, Sukhi. I agree with you on this. Well said.
And also because there is a leadership over there in place, and they are talking to the government, and there is a dialogue going on, and we should respect that one and we should support that one. But number two, the critical issue. Only all the visa to India are suspended. Only the people, those who have the OCI card, at least so they can go. And now this is a violation of the OCI card too by the Mr. Ramandeep Brad because he went on the OCI card, especially during this corona issue, and there is a 5-day, I think, period. You cannot meet anybody over there. And this is a violation of both sides, actually. So I think like he should understand actually so what he's getting into, and he should not be interfering in any local country. Like tomorrow, I'll give you another example. A few years back, Mr. Captain Amrinder Singh, he came to US and he was not allowed to come to Canada because of the same issue, actually. Because then when Mr. Captain Amrinder came over there, he was not allowed to. And so now, how can be I should not be interfering any local issues in India, because these are their local issue, and they have a leadership in place and they are working on that.
Yes, I think that's a very well-meaning point you've made there. First of all, I want to, before I go to GD Bakshi, General GD Bakshi, I want to say one thing. We're all proud of the NRI community, incredibly. But we must never become opportunistic. You know, when I say opportunistic, it is that we should take a holistic view. As General Bakshi will agree with us, if we can all work in the service of India, it's fine. But you can't meddle. The problem is if you meddle, and if you meddle hypocritically. General Bakshi is on the debate. I'm also joined today by Harkirat Singh Ahluwalia, who's a senior journalist from New York. Harkirat, welcome. General Bakshi, it's not about just one politician from Canada. There has been incessant and unstoppable interference coming in from Canada. Hasn't that been the case?
Absolutely. You know, Arnab, I would like to remind these gentlemen that there is a thing called a nation's sovereignty. There is no question of another nation interfering in the internal affairs of a third country or a second country. They're just not on. It is just not acceptable. Don't meddle in the internal affairs of India. It's none of your business. It is none of your business. The farmers are in talks with the government. We have our democratic mechanisms and it is being worked out. The farmers have their right to protest. The government is trying to allay their concerns. It is an internal process. What business does Canada have in this? Canada is the same country, Arnab, which wants to take us to the WTO for giving subsidies to our farmers, right? And now it wants to take us to task as to why we aren't, giving the MSP or this or that. Make up your bloody mind. Make up your bloody mind. You can't take us to WTO, and say that why are you subsidizing your farmers, because this is unfair trade practice and you are, and on the one hand you want to take that holier than thou argument, and here you want to sort of, take us to task. What business have you got? What business have you got? My point is extremely simple. You have allowed nonsense like the Kanishka bombers.
Harkirat, I want to...
Arnab, I can hear you, Arnab, yes.
Canada.
Yeah. See, Harkirat, the point General Bakshi made is very important, and I want to come in on that. Mr. Hansra, you want to debate with me? Can I just get a point with Harkirat and I'll come in, and after that I will smash every point of yours. Every point of yours. I will not just smash your points, I will destroy your argument. But you'll have to be patient. It will take 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes, I'll destroy your arguments. Yes, I will for you too. Don't worry, Jasveer. Jasveer, I will absolutely today, I promise you before the debate is over, I will...
I have to make one point
here. I will skewer your arguments. Don't worry about that. Just be patient. My question now is, Harkirat, here's the point. These people, these Canadian parachuters who come in and parachute into India, why don't you ask them, Harkirat? You ask Mr. Hansra, who's in Ottawa, that Mr. Hansra, you say that you care about Indian farmers. You care about what they want. But is it not true that your country, Canada, said Indian farmers should not have money, should not have prosperity? Didn't you say that poor people in India should not be given subsidies by the government? That when the Indian government wanted to give food subsidies, which to its people, Which country opposed India the most? Which country said Narendra Modi's government should not give food subsidies? The Indian government has exceeded food subsidies for rice production. You know which country, Harkirat? Ramnik, you know which country?
Arnab.
Canada.
Arnab.
Canada. And the second point, Ramnik, is this. Another country said that Indian farmers should not get minimum support price, MSP, which is the basic demand, of the farmers. Yeah, Harkirat, do you know which country? 1 minute. Do you know which country challenged India to defend the program like the MSP? Which country? Canada. Canada said India's farmers should not get minimum support price. At that time, people like Hansra did not open their mouth. Because you see, he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian. His loyalty is there. He doesn't care if the Canadian government interferes and said India should not have minimum support price. India should not give subsidies. I mean, who the hell are this? Is the Canadian government? Anyway, we snubbed them big time. It's a small country, Canada. Good we did. Good we did. But my point is, at that time, where were people like Mr. Hansra, Harkirat? Now he'll say, I didn't know.
First of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. We have to understand the emotions of NRIs. First of all, I will disagree with the gentleman who came from Delhi, who was pointing out the finger on the NRIs, havingly said by Sukhi Chahal that NRI is also contributing. If India is their motherland, we are working here in America because we came here for a better future. Let's think about the emotions of the NRI. NRIs are deeply connected with their roots back in Punjab, which is why the farmers' bills hit home from them. Many NRIs still have land back home, which directly affects their lives. Even the youngest generation here are participating in civil protest to fight against the injustice happening in India. Indian diaspora is appalled by the brutal and unnecessary use of excessive force on Punjab farmers heading towards Delhi. So that's the main concern. Even we have to understand Arnab.
What force? What force? There's been no force used. 1 minute.
So
1 minute. There's been no force used. You tell me. No, 1 minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. There's been no force used at all. Let me tell you. I'll tell you. 1 minute. 1 minute. No, 1 minute. 1 minute. You come from the country of Charlottesville. Please understand. Please understand. You come from the country of race riots. There are race riots in Charlottesville. We all know what's happening in the United States of America. We know the protests. We know the killings. We know the brutality. Right? And as far as India farmers' protest is concerned, let me tell you, all tens of thousands of farmers peacefully protesting, absolutely no violence. I don't know who's feeding you misinformation. Yogendra Yadav?
Can I ask Mr. Harkirat?
One second. 1 minute. You did not answer my question. First of all, the protests are totally peaceful. There is no use of force. So you are misinformed. First, you are misinformed. You are totally misinformed. You need to see Republic to get the right news. There has been no use of force.
Across the borders from Haryana. Why there is
they're peacefully sitting there. They have booked all the hotels. There are wrestling competitions going on. What are you talking about? They have a fantastic atmosphere. Just that it's a lot of inconvenience to people because the highways are blocked.
So, taking care
You're
of
getting misinformation, Harkirat.
Farmers eating pizza is not good for the farmers. So, I know we have to understand the
No, you're getting misinformed about the use of force. Sushant, will you tell us? Sanju, will you tell us? Where's the use of force?
Heavily involved in the Black Lives Matter
Come on,
question. Have shown that they are our allies in contrast to our brothers and sisters in India. Right? We have to understand their emotions. You can't point on the fingers on the NRIs. We are all NRIs.
Can I at least ask you a question?
They're 20% of their income, 30% of income, they're investing back there in Punjab. So that Punjab should have a
Arnab, can I ask him a question?
You can't point out a finger on the NRIs. You have to take your words back, sir.
Okay, no, I'm not going to take anything back, but I want to ask you a question before I start taking anything back. My first question is, okay, you are very emotional and you have gone to to better your future. All very well. Since you're so emotional, did you bother to read the farm laws and understand them? And can you please tell us specifically what are the clauses in those 3 laws which you are so anti?
Something about the farm laws
are so going to cause so much of pain
to people in Punjab? That's question number one. Question number two, please don't tell me that you invest in Punjab for the betterment of Punjab. You send money because you might have family out there. You need to support them for whatever reason. That is why you spend money. Please don't tell us that you are trying to do it for the benefit of India, for the welfare of India. If India benefits, it's not because you are doing it deliberately. It happens by default, not because it's your design. You are sending money to your families, and that's about it. I don't have a problem with that. That's all very well. But please don't tell me that you are doing me a favor by sending money to your families. And if you can answer how much you have read the farm laws and what you have understood about them, I'll be very
I want to, now I go to another point. Sanju is on. No, I go to another point between Sanju and Mr. Hansra. 1 minute, I'm going to another point between Sanju and Mr. Hansra. Both of you have argued your points. Mr. Hansra, please tell me, is it true, now that you are saying you're very concerned about Indian farmers, etc., were you concerned about Indian farmers when your country, along with US, Japan, Australia, said that India must not carry out its minimum support price program for Indian farmers, and Indian farmers must not get minimum support price for rice or wheat or pulses, because your government felt that that way Indian farmers will benefit and it will affect Canadian farmers. Right? So your government attacked Indian farmers and said Indian farmers must not get their income, must not get minimum support price. Now, I find it incredible that you are today saying that you support the same demands for the Indian farmers that your government was brutally against 1.5 years back. It's a mystery. Sanju, I don't understand this at all. It makes no sense to anyone watching the program tonight. Mr. Hansra, please explain.
Well, ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਵੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜ਼ੁਮਲੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ substantial debate ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ. You're talking about Canada opposing MSP in at the World Trade.
I've asked you a question you're not able to answer. I'm asking you about the food subsidy opposition by your government.
ਕਿਹੜੀ ਜੁਮਲੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਰਾ ਦੱਸੋ. ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਵਿਚੌਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਮਿਡਲਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਹਟਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ. ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ 6.5 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ 8 ਲੱਖ ਕਰੋੜ ਦੀ MSP ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ. ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ 'ਚ ਖਾਲੀ 3 ਲੱਖ ਕਰੋੜ ਦੀ MSP ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀ. ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ 50,000 ਕਰੋੜ ਦਾ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਪੈਕੇਜ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ. ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ? ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ੀ ਸਿੰਚਾਈ ਯੋਜਨਾ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਰੀਗੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਬਸਿਡੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ. ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ PM ਕਿਸਾਨ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ 2 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ 1,10,000 ਕਰੋੜ
Mr. Hansra, 1 minute. Sanju, let him reply.
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਮਾਲੂਮ ਹੈ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਭਾਸ਼ਣ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ. ਜਰਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਕਨੋਮੀ ਦਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਪੋਪੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਸਾਈਜ਼ ਹੈ 4 ਕਰੋੜ. ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ 16,000 ਬੰਦੇ ਮਰ ਗਏ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਦੇ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੋਦੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਗਵਰਨੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ. ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ WTO 'ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬਈ MSP ਨੂੰ ਹਟਾਓ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਕੰਪਰੀਹੈਂਸਿਵ ਇਕਨੋਮਿਕ ਪਾਰਟਨਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ? ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਿਲਕ ਔਰ ਡੇਅਰੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਿਊਸਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਟੈਰਿਫ ਫॉर ਸਬਸਿਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਸਬਸਿਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ 15 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਜ਼ੀਰੋ ਕਰੋ.
Okay, I want to give the other side a chance to reply. Sanju, 1 minute.
ਇਹ ਜੇ ਮੈਡਮ ਦੀ ਜ਼ੁਮਲੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਬੰਦ ਹੋਈ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਦਿਆਂ. ਇਹ ਮੈਡਮ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ੁਮਲੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਦਿਆਂ.
ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਅਫੇਅਰਸ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਡਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ? ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਇੰਟਰਨਲ ਅਫੇਅਰਸ 'ਚ ਮੈਡਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ? ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਝੰਡੇ ਖਿਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ. ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਸਿਖਾਓ.
ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ. ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕੌਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਕਰੋ? ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕੌਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਬੀਟ ਅਪ ਕਰੋ? ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕੌਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਕੌਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਬਟਾਂਜ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰੋ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਾਈਵੇਜ਼ ਡਿਕ ਕਰੋ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਨਾ ਦਿਓ.
ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ
Thank you ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ
ਕਿਉਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਦ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨੀ ਪੈਣੀ ਹੈ
ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆਨਲੀ
Calm down, everyone.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਇਸ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਜੁਮਲੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਚ ਜਾ
I am only asking you.
How do you debate?
No, I'm only asking you. Okay, calm down, everyone. I'm asking you. I had one point, and I think problem is sometimes I had one elementary point. My question is, I'd like Sukhi to come in. Sukhi on the left also. Thank you. Sukhi, will you make your point, please, to the gentleman on the other side? And I haven't got an answer. You see, Canada sent 25 questions to India on why it should not help its farmers. Now it is sending its politicians here to say, we want to help India's farmers. I mean, everybody's seeing through this, Sukhi. Please tell Mr. Hansra and tell our friend in London that this is none of your business. If you get into it, we'll expose you. Sukhi, would you like to make your point to him, please? I liked what you said earlier.
Thank you very much. First of all, we have to clarify Mr. Ramandeep Brad, he is not a member of parliament. And he lost the election to another Punjabi girl. Her name is Sonia Sidhu from Brampton South. Let's make it clear, actually, because he is not a member of parliament. Number two, I have a less respect for Mr. Hansra and even all these radicals, actually, so those who do not agree with me. But raising this issue, there is a issue with the other issues, Sikh issues. At this moment, it is not relevant.
Radicals?
And I would rather, Hansra Sahib, please listen. Just give me a minute.
No, but how do you?
This is not the time you guys are trying to. You are trying to interfere in the peaceful movement of the Kisans. And you guys are damaging that one, actually, because people of the Punjab, the farmer of the Punjab, they are competent enough to run their own show, to manage their demands, because they have a projector. They are saying you can see the democracy in the motion in India, because you guys cannot tolerate.
You have no right to beat them up like animals. You have no right to
get your video back
like animals.
No, come on, Sir Jalal Bakshi, come on. Nobody's beating anyone like animals.
Listen.
Oh, come on, you are
Hansra Sahib,
Can I tell you what's
do not
happening
make
in
this
Toronto
one
right now?
Sikh versus center movement. Do
Video
not
back.
make it. This is not a Sikh movement. This is a farmer
the
movement.
Sikhs are part of their country as well. You got to beat up Sikhs because they say I'm a Sikh? It doesn't work that way, my friend.
No. He's Jalal Bakshi needs to come in. Jalal Bakshi, please. Jalal Bakshi.
People have rights.
Jalal Bakshi, I think you need to respond to Mr.
International laws that you have to abide by.
Excuse me.
You can't say. You can't. Well.
You are trying to impart a spin. This is called spin doctrine.
On the other hand,
excuse me, sir, I've heard you with patience. I think you should give somebody else a democratic right to express his views. Excuse me, sir. You've had your say. Give the others a chance to express their views.
And you are crying about it?
All right, now there is.
You have a problem.
Now there is. Now there is. Now there is.
We have a much stronger media in India than you have in Canada.
Let me assure you, sir, we do not need lectures in democracy from anybody in any other continent.
What democracy?
The Canadians have been giving training facilities to the Chinese.
A Hippocratic system.
The Canadians, sir, listen to me. My dear,
what democracy are you talking about?
Listen to me. The Canadians have been providing cold weather warfare training to the Chinese. This is hardly a friendly act, especially in the light of what has happened between the two countries just the last year. Sir, there are Chinese at the border, and we are not happy about the fact that the Canadians are trying to give winter warfare training to the Chinese. It's not a friendly act. And if you are a well-meaning citizen of Indian origin, please go back and campaign in your country that this should not happen.
Stop beating them up.
No,
I
really like the fact.
There is no way.
I really like the fact
I tell you one
that
thing.
Despite having gone to Canada,
you
say your heart beats for India.
Okay, viewers closing.
Still beats for India. Kudos to you, sir.
70
Kudos to you, sir.
Well, I think there is Mr. Hansra, I must tell you, Mr. Hansra, as you are fully aware, one of the biggest problems One of the biggest problems in Canada is racial discrimination. I strongly suggest you work on the issue of racial discrimination in Canada. Best of luck dealing with it. MYOB, mind your own business. And viewers, I shall see you sharp at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Till then, good night. Thank you for watching and goodbye.